Here we go again. This one is I believe it was a 71. I don't have the title in front of me. Prowler, 23 feet, tandem axle obviously. On this one I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to take you around and kind of show you what I'm looking for, what I look at when I find one of these. Basically, to find one I look on Craigslist, OfferUp, or I guess Letgo. I don't have Facebook, so I don't really check Marketplace, but I do have friends that know that, I like to flip these trailers, and so a lot of them will be looking out for me, and they'll let me know when they see one, and I'll just kind of jump on them when I see them. Pricing, I definitely don't like to spend more than like $500, because once I get past that, by the time I do all the work to it that I have to, by the time I buy all the materials that I have to, there's no profit there for me anymore. This one I got for $400, and I'm going to take you around and I'm going to show you why I was okay getting so close to that $500 mark on this one. So this one has the larger 15-inch tires already mounted, and they're fairly new. I mean, you can see the tread depth on these things is crazy. It's like they're brand new. It's like they put brand new tires on it and then let it sit and get rotted away. This one does have the older style square, smaller square axles. They're drop axles, and so I probably will not use these. I will use the axles off of that trailer. That trailer does not have a VIN. It doesn't have a title. I'll explain more about that one in another video. So I'm probably going to pull the axles off of that one right there and use the tires from this one. Basically what that's going to do is going to give me a wider deck, wider hub to hub, wider spring seat to start with, and the better tires off of this one. Tires, if you guys have bought tires before, buying a set of 4, especially the 225 75s, can get pretty expensive. So this one does have modern hubs, what I would consider modern hubs. This is the other thing that I'm looking at. So along with tires, if it has tires, good tires, or tires that are going to need to be replaced, I take that into account. What I would consider modern hubs, so it has a 5-on-4.5, 5-on-5, 6-on-5.5, the 8-ons, stuff like that. I look at that because to replace the entire axle, if I don't have a donor axle, can be very, very expensive by the time you pay for the axle and freight and everything. So definitely something that I look at. I do not buy anything unless it can take a modern wheel. And for those of you that don't know, what I'm talking about is older trailers had more of a flat face on the hub, and then the bolts went in from the outside rather than having studs coming out and putting nuts on it. And that just is no bueno anymore. They are perfectly fine if you have a trailer with that. They're going to work perfectly fine, but as a selling point, I like to have these because it makes the trailer more upgradable and makes it look more modern. It doesn't make it look as old. Pretty standard on these older trailers. You're not really going to find anything more than a 4-inch channel, so meaning 4-inch from the top here to the bottom there, and then pretty much the industry standard was a 4 by 5.4 pounds, so that means it weighs 5.4 pounds per linear foot of material, and it has a 4-inch web on that back side. Pretty strong, pretty good stuff. They used it for a lot of years, and it seems to hold up. I'm not building 10,000 pound car haulers out of these things, and so I keep that in mind when I'm looking at these two. And then length and condition of the metal. Obviously this has a little bit of surface rust, but I'm not too concerned about that because I can take that off pretty easily. I can core seal it, or I can take it if I really want to. Like if I was going to build a trailer for myself, I would probably take it and get it sandblasted. Another thing that I'm taking into account when I'm looking at these, I really like to find them totally stripped down to the bare frame if I can. Guys that basically started to do what I do, or they wanted to build a tiny home on it or whatever. They got it down to the bare frame, and then for whatever reason they're deciding to sell it again. If I'm not able to find them like that, then this is a very, very close second. So basically the walls and everything were all gone. All that was left was the deck here. And why I look at that is because I don't want to get into something that I'm going to have mountains and mountains of trash hanging around. I've got my trash trailer over there. I can haul all this stuff to the dump myself, but I mean, it can get expensive. You make a few runs to the dump and you're looking at, $40, $50, $60, $70 per dump, depending on how much you're taking in there. And so I definitely like to keep it, as little left on the frame as possible, if there is anything at all. Another thing I'm looking at is, as cheap as it might be, I love to see a functioning tongue jack. This one is very functioning. It even has the plastic on the handle still, as tight as it might be. A little bit of lube or grease and that thing will spin freely again, and then that's one less thing I have to buy. They can be 40, 50 bucks sometimes, even online. So one of the last things that I'm looking at, actually really is the first thing that I'm looking at, is I'm just mentioning it last, is there good, clean paperwork on the trailer? I don't like to have to go through ownership and doubt. Here in Washington State, if you buy a trailer or you manufacture a trailer, if you can't prove that it's yours from when it was built or that it was legally purchased, i.e. a title, then you have to go through ownership and doubt. What that means is you go to the DMV, you get a piece of paper, and then you go over to and say, hey, I got a trailer, but I have no way to prove it's mine. They give you an inspection sheet and you go over to Highway Patrol. What Highway Patrol does then is they inspect the trailer, you pull it into a garage, and they're looking it over from front to back, looking for any kind of a VIN or serial number marking on it. And they're going to, if they find a VIN, they will issue that on the paperwork and put you into the ownership and doubt process, meaning they're going to put down the VIN into a system, and if that VIN comes up stolen, you're out the money that you're into the trailer. The other way is if they do not find a VIN, then they assign a VIN to it. They will issue registration in both instances. They will issue registration. If there's no VIN, they put you into ownership and doubt based on like a physical description of the trailer. And if it comes up stolen, again, you're out all the money that you put into it. So now that I've got that out of the way, just explain to you, when I buy one that has this on it, or even if it has, short walls, I have purchased one that has short walls on it before. It's all basically going to be the same thing. Basically, I work from one end to the other, usually from the back to the front. That way it keeps the weight on the tongue and the trailer doesn't try and flip up on me while I'm standing on it. But I work from the back and I work my way forward, and I basically just cut out sections. Like on the floor, I'm cutting as close as I can from floor joist to floor joist, cutting across, kind of taking out strips, and I toss it in and stack it into my trash trailer. And then at my earliest convenience, I haul it off to the trash. So that's where I'm at right now. I did just get the black tank out. So the black tank was underneath that last section there. It's a little bit more work when you're doing that because you have to cut around the vent, and you have to cut around the donut for the toilet and kind of separate the plywood around those two things, and then you can lift it out. Came out pretty easily. Taking it out through the top, in my experience, has been an easier way to do it because hardware is rusted, the cross members are rusted. If you just cut the top off, you can kind of lift it out the top of the trailer because there's not usually anything holding it down. It's all just supporting the weight to keep it up off the ground. So I'm gonna get hot, take off some more sections, and you guys can just hang tight. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today. I got it all stripped down. Got some planning and some thinking to do, and then we'll get hot on probably what I'm leaning towards is cutting up that other frame and using the material and the axles to help out this frame. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.